Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this beautiful launch of Traditions with Aachi Tata. This is the second book in our Aachi Tata series that brings grandparents, grandchildren, traditions, recipes, stories, all of that together in the most nostalgic way possible. I remember when we first met the young author of today, Aaryan Vittal. He would always tell us stories about how he spoke to his grandparents, what they told him. He would always write about festivals. He would always say that on this festival, this is what I wore, this is what I ate. The descriptions were always so vivid. They were beautiful and they always had a lot of pictures. There were so many happy faces in them. And these were not merely incidents that he was penning down from his life. As a reader, I could see that he was making beautiful memories in the future. And while it was heartening to see that, I also knew that many other children across India also have this opportunity to interact with their grandparents, with their parents, and they share lovely memories. And how beautiful are these memories that they're able to preserve in the future? I think this book is a testament to the beautiful bond of family. And that is what we hope to talk about today. Before I tell you about this book, I'd love for you to see a short video. It's a 1 minute video of what this book is about. So let me just show that to you. So that in a nutshell was this video. The children of today have questions. They want to know why things are done in a certain way. And I think this book is a beautiful example of how when we allow children the ability or the strength to ask questions, and when we do have the opportunity to answer these questions, there's a very rich transfer of information and respect that goes along a long way into shaping up who they are as individuals in the future. So why this book and why books by kids? I would love for Nidhi Mishra, who is the CEO of Bookosmia, to join us. This is a very special book for Bookosmia. So Nidhi, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, Archana. I'm very excited to be. Can you hear me? I'm sorry, everyone. I'm outside somewhere, but I didn't want to miss this, so I've turned my video on. I hope you can hear me well.
Sure, we hear you perfectly, Nidhi. Nidhi, I want to ask you this about publishing in general. This is the second book of the series that you have done as a publisher. The first one, of course, was Aachi Tata, Recipes and Stories from My Kitchen. Uh, Tell us about the second book and what this journey and what this book means to you as a publisher.
Yeah, and I'm extremely excited to be here. I know Aryan both professionally as part of Bookosmia and personally. And nothing gives us more joy here at Bookosmia. It's a platform for children to express themselves. As a publisher for young kids, we want to make sure that young voices are heard, and any movement of that sort works only when it is sustained over a period of time. So I know there is enough in the market where, children come and they publish a book, they feel very happy, they celebrate it for those moments, and that's about it. But Aryan doing his second book, I think is a shot in the arm for everybody who wants to look at expressing themselves on a consistent basis, not just for that momentary pride that I got published, but creating something which is ongoing and which is so valuable. I have the book in my hand. It's absolutely beautiful. I know the illustrations match so beautifully with the thoughts that Aryan has in terms of bringing out the Indian aesthetic. And something that we really need. So, as a publisher, very happy because all of us have known that where we lack in the publishing industry in India is a series form. So, if you look at books which have done miraculously well across the world, whether it's a Thea Stilton series for your 6 7 year olds, or the fairy series, or then they grow older to read Harry Potter, or whatever else that follows, your Percy Jackson. When you have things as a series, they build a recall and an excitement for the child who picks up the next book and actually waits what's going to happen next. I already know these people. It feels like you're a part of that ecosystem. And I'm so glad that Aryan and his parents decided that they should have a second in the series. I'm rooting for many more, for it to be a series. I'm hoping to see all kinds of questions that children may have, which are answered by Achi, Tata, Nani, Nana, Dadi, Dada, the grandparent bond, which is so special and so unique to us in India. It's absolutely endearing to read it, and it has everything for rooting in a reader. So, really looking forward to many more. These are questions, I think, in the book that all of us have, but children spend the time to ask them. Most of what's in the book in terms of answers I also didn't know, but the difference is that as an adult I have the questions. I don't have the time and intent to ask them, but Aryan has done that on our behalf, and I'm so glad that he did. I think that's the part of kids. They ask the questions, they try to find the right answers, and they're very happy to share it with all of us. It's not some limited knowledge that they're looking to build for themselves. So very, very excited for this. And this is for Aryan and many, many more books in the series. I think it should be a series and not stop at book number 2. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Nidhi. That was beautifully said. Like you correctly pointed out, the need of the hour is to have books that children identify with. A lot of times we see books that are super popular across the world, but a lot of things that the children talk about there, whether it comes to the weather, it's about the food, the places, they're not relatable to the children who live here. But books like these, when you talk of the Korakate, you talk of the Modak, why does Ganesha like this Modak? Why do we offer it to this particular god? Why do we do the Topokarnam like this? That's what we covered in the previous book. And in this book, we have some very, very interesting questions. And I know the perfect person to tell us more about these questions and why this book. So, could I have the young author on, please? Aryan, are you there?
Yeah, ma'am.
Hey, Aryan, welcome to your own book launch. How are you feeling?
Ma'am, I'm feeling excited, happy.
You should be. And you should be very proud, Aryan, of this beautiful book that you have created that we are all seeing in our hands. Tell us, how was that feeling when you finished your book and then that book arrives in your hand for the first time? How does it feel?
Ma'am, I was really impressed by like all the illustrations. It was really nice. I was happy when the book was done. I was excited to see it published.
Absolutely. It's all the fruits of your labor, isn't it? All the words that you wrote, the thoughts that you did. So, Aryan, tell us about this book. So, you already did the first book, which was absolutely loved by so many people. I can tell you upfront that so many children have picked up his first book to understand more about these recipes and stories from grandmother's kitchen. And now you've gone on to write about the traditions. So, how did you arrive at this topic?
Um, Ma'am, I chose this topic as I wanted to share like the experience I had with my grandparents, with everybody else, and like the practices we have as Tamil people.
Is
Yeah.
there you've talked about many questions in this book, isn't it? Like some of the ones I really liked was, why do we ring the bell in the temple, for instance, or why do we put the rangoli or kolam? So tell me, are these really questions that you have asked your grandparents and that is why you've put them in the book?
Yes, ma'am. I've asked these questions to my grandparents.
That's lovely. And how does it go? Like during all festivals, do you celebrate with your grandparents and then you ask them the questions? How Tell us all about it.
Yeah, ma'am. I celebrate every festival in my grandparents' house, and I ask them questions related to it, about, like all the time.
Okay, and lovely. And you get to taste these wonderful recipes and preparations made by your parents and your grandparents, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, your book makes everyone very, very hungry, Aryan. And they make us want to go back and eat all those traditional recipes. Okay. So, Aryan, in this book, this is your second book, right? For a lot of us who are trying to write, we have an idea for a book. I think all of us somewhere have an idea for a great book. But not a lot of us are able to translate that into a finished book. This is your second book. So could you tell us some tips of how, when you get an idea, how do you actually go on to the next step and start writing it as a book?
Yeah, ma'am. So grandparents, ma'am. So like last time it was Aachi Thatha's kitchen. I always asked them about all the yummy food and all. But then I started getting curious about like the culture of like Tamil people and all the traditions. So I started asking them questions about it. Like I found everything very interesting.
So what about your writing for this? So how did you develop that into a book?
Ma'am, the tips like just like I just write whatever my grandparents gave me as an answer.
Okay, that's lovely that your grandparents are spending such nice time with you and sharing all this knowledge with you, isn't it? And you are
Yes.
also using this knowledge so beautifully. So, Aryan, this is something we tell all our youngsters at Bukosmia all the time, that when something nice, you're going through something nice, whether you're traveling, you're trying a new restaurant for the first time, you've gone to a new movie, don't just, switch off from there. See if you can write those as memories, and the beautiful diary that follows. When you go back and read them, you will really like it, right, in the future. And of course, you have actually gone ahead and done a book about it, so you have these precious memories that you can preserve forever, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
So, Aryan, tell us, was there any challenge for you writing this second book, or was it like how you wrote the first book, you were able to continue with the same tone, or did you have to do some extra exercises or something to get your creative juices going?
Yeah, ma'am. I've tried my best to keep it short and simple. That was the most difficult part.
That's such an interesting point that you said. You said keeping it short and simple was a very difficult part. Of course, I'd like you to elaborate, but as you do, I also want to tell you that as a writer, I think sometimes the most difficult thing you can do is keep it simple, isn't it? So, what are the things you did to keep your narrative simple for children?
Uh, Ma'am, like keeping the narrative simple, like close to heart. Mostly, like don't write the entire answer of what my grandparents said. That's what I did,
Okay.
ma'am.
So,
And also, I like do research, express thoughts to connect well with the readers.
that's such a good point. So when you said that I tried to be true to my writing, so that shows your authenticity as a writer, right? And that's such an important part of writing again. When you're authentic to what you write, it shows. Okay, so that's what you did with your writing. And secondly, an important part you talked about was research. Research is a very, very important part of writing any book. And when I read your book, I learned, like how Nidhi said a little while back, I also learned so many new things from your book that I did not previously know. Sometimes as we adults, we think we know everything there is. But when we read books like yours, it kind of reminds us of how much more there is to learn about even small things that we thought we knew before. And that is the beauty of literature. The more you read, the more there is to learn, and you learn with every page, and that's for sure something that happens with your book as well. Now, Aryan, tell me, is there a message that you have for your readers?
Ma'am, message. I like noticed that many people like don't spend that much time with their grandparents nowadays. They're mostly on screens. So I think they're spending more time with their grandparents.
That's a beautiful message. I think, yes, for those of us who are privileged to have our grandparents, yes, we must spend time, and of course, spend more time with our parents, our caregivers, people who mentor us through our life, who make our lives positive. We should absolutely do that. Thank you so much, Aryan, for your beautiful answers. We wish you the best with your book. And of course, in a little while, we hope to bring you back for a few questions. But for now, I would love to have Abhishek Muthurajan here. Abhishek, are you there?
Yeah. Hi, Archana.
Hey, Abhishek. So,
So,
all of you, I'd love for you to meet Abhishek Muthurajan. He's the immensely talented illustrator that has worked on this book and really breathed life into it through its illustrations, the color, the expressions, the nostalgia, everything. Abhishek, this is an absolute work of art. Congratulations to you.
yeah, I want to thank like Kosmia and Archana, and especially Nidhi and Archana, especially because they helped me through when I was illustrating this book. And the words from the book Aryan wrote helped me convey the warm feeling of how it's with a grandparent to be, how it's to be with a grandparent. So I feel like I've conveyed it through my art style there.
Absolutely. Abhishek, for you also, this was the second book in the series, and we had about a year's gap since we did the first one, more than a year's gap. Tell me how difficult or easy for you was to come back to this same, the entire scheme of how you did it.
Yeah, when I did the first book, I didn't expect it to like reach a lot of audience, and definitely felt the pressure of like putting in the work for the second book also. And what I felt was like the main thing you spoke about authenticity in a book. I wanted to make sure that since the warm colors were conveyed in the first book, I wanted to continue it in the second book and try to keep the style as much as close to the first book as possible. So yeah, it took I took a lot of Pinterest references and made small iterations before I made the final sketch, which actually helped me like come up with good illustrations.
Yes, Abhishek, they're absolute standout. And I think every single person who has had the book in their hand are just raving about the illustrations. It's come together beautifully. Abhishek, tell us among these two books, which is your favorite illustration in the book?
Uh, so I think it's the cover page of the second book because I think I put a lot of effort into framing all the elements in one frame, and I think I like the way it has been portrayed in the cover page of the second book, like how the all the elements in the book are there together in one frame. Yeah, that's why I think I like this one. But yeah, my friends tend to like the Kolkata one a lot. They keep saying that's like a really good one. So yeah.
Absolutely. And those who have not seen that Kolkata one, you must see it. It's in the first book. It's a delightful illustration. Anyone who's not picked up the book, I would recommend you to take it as a series. This is a book that all of you can gift to someone. And today, especially being the Tamil New Year, there's Vishu. Last week we had Ugadi. It's a great time and season to gift something about traditions to your loved ones. Okay, and Abhishek, final question to you. Tell us, is there a message that you have for your readers?
Yeah. So since Aryan wrote this book for the second time, and like I had the privilege to actually like make a series with him, I think he's conveyed the main point of like spending time with your grandparents. And what I would like to say is, while drawing these illustrations, I came to know that to bring in authenticity within yourself will help you a lot as an individual in the world. So yeah, you can actually like stand out from other people if you are very authentic towards yourself. That's my message.
That's a beautiful message, Abhishek, and we wish you all the best. Hope to collaborate with you on more projects and wish to see more of your work out there for the world to see.
Thank you actually.
Thank you, Abhishek. We have a very special guest who's joined us. I don't know if he's there. Krishna, are you here?
I can hear you, Archana ma'am.
Hi, Krishna.
Hi.
So, all of you, we are privileged to have the bookman of Bangalore, Krishna Gowda, who owns the Bookworm at Church Street here. He's the one of the world's most loved, bookstore owners, and it's an honor that he has joined us today. Thank you, Krishna.
My pleasure too. Thank you. Thank you.
Krishna, I would like to hear from you as a custodian of books. I don't want to call you a bookstore owner. I want to call you a custodian of books. We are very lucky that our previous book, Aachi Tata's Kitchen, is a part of Bookworm, and now we look forward to having this book as well on Bookworm. But tell us about children's books, and according to you, how do you feel about children's book? Do you see older people also picking up children's books?
Yes, of course, there are a few books. For example, Gita for children. Rupa Pai meant for it. The book is meant for children, but only the elders are reading it. And there is a book called The Boy, the Mole. You know that book, no? So even that's also read by only elders. Yeah, there are a few books which, for example, Little Prince. So elders read it. It's originally meant for children, but elders read it. Yes. And luckily, what I want to say one thing that see, India is the country of the youngsters. There's a huge potential. As bookseller, I can see that. But at the same time, our children, our kids are going away from our Indian culture. But so books like this will bring back the root of our tradition. Actually, it's nice to see books like this. I want to thank Aaryan.
Thank you so much,
Thank,
Krishna.
thank
Honor to have you today. And Aryan, that's high praise for you coming from Krishna. Yes, Krishna, we also hope that more books about India and
our culture.
especially written for kids become more popular as well. Thank you so much for joining us, Krishna. I'd like to go to Geeta, mother of Aryan. Geeta, are you here?
Yeah, yeah. Hi, Archana.
Hey, hi, Geeta. Congratulations to you. This is the second book written by Aryan. How are you feeling?
Thank you, and thank you everyone for joining for the event today. I feel great, and all thanks to Archana for mentoring Aryan in every stage of his writing. As always, you have been very sweet mentor to Aryan and encouraging him to correct all his errors and improve his writing better. I feel his writing has improved greatly from his first book under your mentoring. Thank you.
Thank you, Geeta. Just a small correction. There were no errors in the book. Books are thoughts of expression. So I really enjoy everything that Aryan wrote, right from the draft to the final book. So Geeta, I have a question for you. And I'm asking that not just as someone in the publishing industry, but also as a parent. As a parent, I've seen that when we see children getting excited over some activity, it could be like a music activity or a sport or something new. After the initial few days, we've seen that the interest kind of wanes down. So they may start out with great interest, say for example a tennis, for example. They start the class, and after 2-3 months they just want to abandon it, and then they just don't want to do anything. So is there something that you do that as a parent you can help them nurture, and when they feel like they've lost the interest anymore, but that it's just a matter of coming back to that interest? Are there any tips that you can offer to help the child bounce back? Because for Aryan, I've seen that the writing is consistent. He writes very, very consistently. Any festival, anything, I always see his blog, right on our desk. And whatever's the topic of the month, I'm sure that I will always receive something from Aryan. Even when assignments are to be done with the TED or podcasting, whatever he does, I always see that it comes here to my desk on time. So is there something that you do to share, to keep him excited about writing?
We also had some setbacks in this journey of writings. Like you always mentioned, he was writing consistently during the lockdown. Then later he also slowed down. But what I felt was we didn't pressure him much. Like you have to write, but all the feedback which came as reviews and comments on his every post, That's what kept him inspired to write more. He was excited to see people commenting on his post and many unknown people giving reviews on his book or the blogs. So that kept him more inspired to write again. The first book also, when it reached Higginbotham's Chennai, we had our relatives visiting Chennai and click Aryan's books photos and crossword Chennai. So we had some friends who clicked pictures and sent them across to us. So he got more excited. So when actually it had slowed down Aryan's writing, that is when he was like, "Oh, my book is still there in Chennai. It's reaching everywhere." When we saw it on Amazon, many people from Canada and all sent us the reviews. He was like, "I want to do it again." Then when he was doing research like what to write more, I told you have to keep it close to your heart. Whatever you see every day, whatever you practice every day, I think if you write, it will be more natural. So that's when we finalized, let's everyday practices. Not many of us know the reasons behind it. So that's how he finalized this topic and wrote about the second book. As Aryan already mentioned, it was actually, I think, 3 or 4 times of what has come in the book. He had a tough time making it short because it is for children. We had to keep it short. You always know every tradition has an elaborate explanation and a scientific reason behind in our everyday practice. We try to just touch upon it so children go back and question their grandparents and parents at their own homes.
That's a beautiful point, Geeta. I like how you've put it across. Great books don't answer all your questions, but they kind of get you started on that journey to acquire more knowledge and more information about the subject. So this book is the perfect book for you to bond with your grandparents and ask those questions that you've always asked. I absolutely love that point. I also thank you for your candor in speaking about how Aryan was able to rediscover his spark of writing. You're absolutely right when you talked about validation. I think the biggest joy for any writer is to see their book in a bookstore. And when it is at a bookstore like Higginbotham's Chennai, which I believe is the oldest bookstore in India,
Yes.
and of course his books are across India, in bookstores across India. So I think that's amazing. So somewhere in some bookstore, a child is picking up this book. In fact, when I was at the Bangalore Literature Fest, I saw many children picking up this book. So it was a very good moment for us also to just stand back as a bystander and see a child that we don't know pick up the book. So I think the book definitely has something in it. Uh, it has an important message, and like you correctly pointed out, it is everything that a parent sometimes wants to tell their children, but maybe don't know where to start. So I think that is a perfect handout for every parent as well. So Geeta, now what about next? I hope that you're going to encourage him to keep writing and come up with a third book in the series as well.
Yeah, even I am looking forward to that, Archana. Recently, we had an interaction with Mrs. Sudha Murthy, where she loved the concept of interaction with grandparents. She herself has written a book about Grandma's Bag of Stories. She actually compared, like, it was her point of view of writing from a grandmother's viewpoint, and she mentioned this is a fresh viewpoint to write from a child's question and answer with grandparents. So that came in as a very encouraging point for Aryan. And she delightedly has taken 2 copies of each book. So she said she'll read it and she'll give it to her grandchildren also, and she'll get back to us with the reviews. So we are also eagerly waiting for it.
That's amazing. It's beautiful when your ideas go out into the world and touch people. So thank you so much for that, Geeta. And absolutely, I hope that the people continue to read this book across India and, of course, globally as well. This book will be available for our global markets as well. So congratulations for that. Geeta, I have a request. We have our beautiful Aachi, Thatha, our grandparents who are the crux of this book.
Yes.
So could we have a word from them as well?
Yes, sure, Archana. They'll join.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Fine, I am fine.
Good to see you. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
So please tell me, how are you feeling about this second book? It's such a beautiful cover. You can see my background. It is you both in the background.
We feel very proud of this moment. He's Aryan, our grandson Aryan is a very well. By observing all these things, what is happening in and around him, I think he shut down all these things and write good. I am proud of him. He is very, very special to me. I seek all your support and encouragement to him. I expect very more things from him. I can thank you for the Bookosmia team, especially you, Archana, and young artist and book designer Abhishek, and kids book stories owner Krishna, and editor, and all other supporting team. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir and ma'am, for your very kind words. We look forward to more books from Aaryan. Ma'am, would you also like to say something?
Yes, yes.
Good evening. We wish you all happy Tamil New Year. I am very pleased to have my grandson on second book release of this auspicious day. I am very happy about these writings. Proud of him. We will always encourage him to do more and better. We expect all your support and encourage him. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Of course, it's our pleasure as well to mentor a lovely young writer like Aaryan. He's very dedicated and he's always keen on being the best version of himself. So we are also very, very happy and that we've got the second book in the series. I know there are a lot more books to go. Do we have anyone else, Geeta, who would like to say a word?
Yes, Archana. Archana?
Yes. Would his other grandma also like to say a few words?
She has not yet joined. I think she's traveling.
All right. No worries. Okay. All right. So I think Vidya and Vali are here. Would you like to say something?
Valli is a very close friend of us and Aryan's friend's mother joining from Chennai.
Hi, Vali.
Valli, Mani.
Hi Archana, hi Geeta.
Valli,
Very
you have
happy to be
anything to
here.
tell
Yeah.
about Aryan's books?
Aryan, he's writing very nicely. I used to read all those books. He's very good writer. We wish him many more books to write. And it's all because of his mom. We love. Yeah, that is my word.
Thank you, Vali. You're
Thank
absolutely right.
you.
Aryan's progress and his wonderful love for words comes from his parents and the encouragement they give him every single day. That definitely
Yeah,
makes.
he's blessed with very grandparents, nice grandparents on both sides, and a very nice family.
Thank
And
you.
we also get to enjoy this lovely family and their traditions. Thanks to them, we learn
Yes,
so
that
much.
tradition only. Very Gita is brought up in a very nice way.
Thank you.
And now she's sharing all those values and culture, and not only with Aryan, but to people across India. So thank you for that, Geeta. Thank you, Abhishek. Thank you, Aryan. Thank you, Vidya, Vali, and Krishna, Nidhi, all of you who've joined us today. I hope that you will be able to get a copy of this book. It's a must read. Absolutely do have a copy, do read it, and we would love to know what you think. So send us the reviews. Look forward to your reviews, and of course, more power to young writers like Aryan who are absolutely shaping the way the future looks for us. So, with that, I would like to conclude today's book launch and wishing Aryan all the best. We know that the book is going to do really, really well. So, again, all the best to all of you, and thank you so much for joining us.